some point, if you're in the business world, you're looking to grow your business, it makes no sense to have your business, your revenue, everything in your life grow and not have the business credit and your availability to capital match that as well.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Build to Billions podcast, where we got successful entrepreneurs and investors on the journey from millions to billions. We believe the key to scaling and compounding your wealth in life starts every single day with a mindset and practice of stewardship over ownership and applying billionaire biblical principles. Our ultimate goal is to scale and compound your wealth in life so you give more all the way to help MVPs, the most vulnerable people. My name is Brett Swartz. In every episode, we're joined by the world's top entrepreneurs, millionaires, billionaires. They share their secrets and insights with us so we can all level up and scale up. I'm excited about our next guest. He is the CEO at Stacking Capital. He's empowering businesses to become bankable assets. He's an expert in 0% business funding and long-term capital strategy. And today we're going to be talking about that. Basically, how to build 0% business funding plans. Please welcome to the show with me, Mr. Patrick Pychynski. Patrick, how are we doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Brett.
Excellent. For our listeners to get to know you for the first time, would you give us just a little bit more about your story and your current focus?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do at Stacking Capital is pretty simple. We help entrepreneurs and investors access 0% interest business capital, ranging anywhere between $50,000 to $250,000. And we're generally just doing that with their good credit score.
Excellent. I love how succinct that is. Let's dive right into that. So what's the number one secret to unlocking that, Patrick?
Yeah, so it all starts with one's personal credit score. Generally, a 700 plus gets the conversation going. But in order to unlock those significant amounts, we're actually looking at the credit report itself.
Good. Okay. So what do you need or don't need on that credit report after you at least have, let's say, a 700 or 750?
Yeah, so this is one of the great things about 0% business credit is that it's startup friendly. You typically don't need collateral. And what we're looking at is a good credit score, generally with no derogatories. We're generally looking for you to have some comparable credit. So if we're looking to unlock a significant amount on the business side in terms of revolving lines of credit, we want to see that on the personal credit as well. So generally some cards that are at least 3 years old with decent limits, so at least $5,000 limits. And again, they have to be at least 3+ years old. From there, we're really looking at a clean file, no derogatories, and having the utilization at the very minimum under 30% on your credit cards, ideally under 10%.
Okay, so those are some key, I guess, kind of the KPIs, if you will. So 3-year-old credit cards with at least 5,000 credit limits, clean file, no derogatories, good credit score. And then you said comparable credit. And then the utilization of your overall credit from all your cards, is less than 30%, ideally less than 10%.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's, again, the very beginning. When we start getting into business credit, we start to, a lot of people sometimes get denied, a lot of people can get denials, and it could have nothing to do with their personal credit. We've seen people with 800 credit scores get denied when they go and apply directly from the banks. And that could be of a couple of reasons. They're applying for the wrong products in the wrong order. And what we like to do is start with the 0% interest business credit cards because they are startup friendly. Like I said, when done right, we can get approved for a significant amount from each bank. And collectively, we end up, again, usually it's with between 2 to 4 to 6 applications per round, where we end up anywhere between $50,000 to $150,000 altogether.
Okay, so let's paint the picture of the perfect 0%, right? So I want to know, is it their cash advances? If so, is there costs? Is it only 0% on the purchases, right? Or balance transfers, and is there fees on that? So walk us through when you mean, let's just say everyone checks the person you're locking to checks all the boxes, right? Has all the 10% less, great credit score, boom, the $5,000, dollar 3-year-old cards, all of those things, and you say, awesome, you just unlock $250,000 if you want it. What does that really mean? Is it just for new purchases? Is it cash out advances? Walk us through that.
Yeah, I love that. So most of these cards are going to be for purchases. There are a few cards out there in the business side that are actually for balance transfer. but we have a lot of real estate investors, uh, those especially that want it either for a down payment or to supplement their hard money or private money loan. So a lot of times we're actually needing the cash from these credit cards. And as you know, if you were to do that, usually you're incurring a cash advance fee. But it's called liquidation, and it's one of our processes. So throughout the whole process, we're hand holding you the whole way. We have Zoom calls for the preparation, the strategy, the applications, and the most important part, what we're talking about right now, is the post funding. So, generally, in post funding, we're removing the inquiries that we incurred for that business funding round. 99% of these business credit cards that we go after will not report on your personal credit profile. We're preparing you for your next round of 0% funding, because the best time to prepare for a round of funding is when you don't need funding. And we're assisting you with any liquidation, so credit into cash, to make sure that we're applying best practices, not getting our card shut down, and most importantly, retaining the 0% intro period. So what we do is there are services like Plastique and Melio, for example, that you can use to either pay, let's just say, a title company or something like that, to liquidate credit into cash. And that comes in at around a 3% fee. If you're looking to just liquidate credit into cash without any particular vendor or company in mind that you want to pay, that will come in at around 6%. But the way I like to explain it is between your intro bonus offers that you get. So, for example, I think Chase is offering $400 cash back after you spend maybe $3,000 in the first 90 days. So, between the intro offers that these cards come with and the perks, some of them ranging between 1 to 2% cash back, and that expense being a tax deductible expense, it really helps to offset the cost of liquidation. And the best part of all is you get to retain and keep that 0% intro period because it codes as a regular purchase.
Okay, so let's walk you through that. By the way, if you want to learn more about Patrick, you can go to his website to get started, stackingsuccess.com. You can get your um, unlock. You can take the free assessment to see what potentially you can unlock there, and also check out some client deal stories or his testimonials. So let me kind of capture that. So it sounds like 0% obviously is the first thing, and then second is 3 to 6% to do liquidation, right? Basically, in the credit to cash, depending on how you go about doing that. Does the liquidation have to be spent on just business or investments, or can it be spent on personal? Walk us through that. You mentioned tax deductible. So if I take $100,000 of credit and I guess, yeah, in this scenario, it costs me, say 6%, so $6,000 of fees to get it to cash. Are you saying that's a deduction, right? That $6,000 fee is a deduction.
Absolutely.
Did I catch that all? And then the last thing I would say is fill in the 0%. How long is the 0% typically last for?
Yeah, so on average, I like to say it's about 12 months, but you have pretty much certain business credit cards that are 9 months. There are some that are 18 months. The best part of this is that if done right, you can actually repeat the process. So not only are those lines that you're obtaining growing with you along the way if you're maintaining them properly, but with the right plan in mind. So as long as you're keeping those cards under 45% utilization by the time the 0% runs out, there's room open there to go back to the same bank and ask for another 0% card. So this process could be repeated, and then how you transfer that balance over from a non 0% card to a 0% card would be through the liquidation method if it is not a balance transfer card.
Got it. Okay. So it is basically strategically stacking 0% between 9 and 18-month credits with credit card companies, and then strategically trying to continue to ask them to extend if you as long as you're maintaining under 45% utilization. Is that a fair summary so far?
Yes, yeah. And look, the overall plan for us is because there's a lot of noise in this market. There's a lot of people that do credit stacking. A lot of them are marketers. They don't have an in-house fulfillment team. Our ultimate goal is to make you bankable. So it starts first by optimizing your personal credit, strengthening that. So as a result of this program, your profile will be stronger. You'll have your first round of 0%. We'll immediately prepare you for your second round. And that lays a good foundation to becoming what we call bankable. There's four legs to becoming bankable, but once your business is, that means that your business can now, it's an asset. Your business can now personally guarantee certain things as opposed to you having to personally guarantee every single time. It also means that you can now access loans, lines of credit, SBA from those very same banks that we got 0% interest from. So that's the most important part here is that we start with the end in mind. And by that, we're able to not keep these guys in high interest debt because outside of becoming bankable and the 0% promo periods, in the business lending world, you're really looking at 20 to 30+% interest rates.
Okay, so that makes sense. So the long-term vision and goal is to become bankable. Once you become bankable, then it then unlocks, even better credit opportunities is what I'm hearing so far. How long does it take on average to become bankable with your team?
So it should take a business no more than 3 months, no less than 3 months, I'm sorry, and no more than 6 to 9 months. But there's such a big range there because a lot of what we do is work with the client on making them become bankable. So the four legs are lender compliance, the way your name, address, and phone number shows up across the bureaus, the directories, the banks, and everything. A lot of times people get held up there. A simple mismatch in address or a PO box on a business credit um, database can lead to a denial, and it has nothing to do with your credit qualifications. So that's the first leg there. The second leg is business credit. So we're wanting to eventually build a FICO SBSS of 160 plus, which is actually a combined score of both your personal and business, and a 70 plus across the rest of the business bureaus like Dun and Bradstreet that many people may have heard of, which isn't really the main one, but it's just good to have a well-rounded profile. Dun and Bradstreet is more for like vendor credit and all the other ones. The third leg is having those 10 to 15 financial trade lines reporting on your business credit report. And this is why 0% is such a great foundation because it's startup friendly. Almost anybody can have access to it with a 700 plus credit score. And these are financial trade lines that will go on to report on your business credit report. You're also opening a relationship internally with these banks to open the door later down the road for either larger lines of 0% or those lines of credit and term loans that we're talking about at prime rates. The
Okay, let's
fourth
talk about
leg
the
would be your finances.
yeah, let's talk about larger lines and then the prime rate. So like when larger lines such as what, and then for as long as what are we just doubling the rates and doubling the amounts and the terms, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, no. So basically, most people, when they go to a bank, they go and apply for a loan or a line of credit. And we have the stats on this. Over 90% of business owners get denied when they go do that. And it's because they're missing one of those four legs. So what we're talking about is like lines of credit, term loans directly from the bank at rates from anywhere between 8.25, so prime plus 0%, to like 14%. Because outside of that, most business owners are having to resort to what we call the short-term financing products, which there has been a big emergence of them because most businesses are not bankable, such as your Blue Vines, your OnDecks, your PayPal, your Quick Loans, Quicken Loans, QuickBooks Loans. Those are what we call like FinTech products. And if you see, you're going to end up paying anywhere 20+% interest rates on those types of products.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. So so the larger lines, the longer terms, right? In
Yeah.
lower interest rates
And
is
sorry about
basically,
that.
yeah. Go
Better
ahead.
rates and terms up to 5 or 10 years.
Oh, okay. But about 8.25, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like,
Oh
okay,
yeah,
so
we've
that,
come in better than the SBA. So we've literally come in at like prime plus 0% on lines of credit and term loans. Uh,
okay.
and
Are
this,
they adjustable or what?
yes, yeah, it's a prime plus 0%. So whatever prime is.
Okay.
hmm So
Okay. Got it. Got it. Okay. So that's key. So yeah. So step one is you get some, 12 months, 0%. You cleaned up your personal credit and your business credit. You do these four things you talked about. You become bankable. Then you can access, more credit, right? And so that's
from
that's
those very
basically it.
same
I mean,
banks.
what haven't I asked you so far that I should have asked you?
You asked some really good questions in terms of turning credit into cash. I would say for the people listening, just be very wary of going with any funding company, especially those that charge a back end fee. it might sound very attractive to engage with that type of company. Like, oh, sounds great. They're not charging anything up front. But that's because they're also not doing much up front. And I tell most people, most of the magic happens leading up to the applications, not the applications themselves. And I've been around long enough to already see what happens when they go through companies like that, because we're getting all the clients for the second round, and some of them we can save, some of them we can't, but it was it's a very transactional experience most of the time. They get you funded, they blast your credit profile to hell. Oftentimes they'll add a bunch of new personal accounts instead of business accounts.
Oh,
What ends up happening is, because they're rushing the applications, and they want to get the most amount of approval so they could charge you the 10 to 20% back end fee, they'll end up adding a bunch of new personal accounts and maybe some business accounts. But what happens is, you have starter credit limits on the business side, like 2K, 4K limits, which won't do you much. And then on the personal side, I've seen as much as people adding up to 10 new accounts on their profile. So it just ends up pushing the goalpost a lot further down as to when they can get any significant amount of business funding.
we're speaking with Patrick. And you can spell his last name in case you want to look it up: Pychynski. And you can go to stackingsuccess.com to get started. Unlock up to $250,000 at 0% interest, leverage their insider banking network, and become truly bankable with your business. Okay, got it. So how do you guys get paid, or what does it look like for a commitment from someone who's interested?
Yeah, definitely. That's a great question. So we don't charge a back end fee. We don't charge an annual fee. We're consultants. We're an advisory firm. So what we do is charge an upfront investment, and we always try to make the actual payment be the last reason why somebody cannot join. So we have things from one-time payment options to split payments to even financing the program out, putting their first payment out 30 days out, and just starting to work right away. So I'll always advocate for somebody that I know will be a good client and a good file to work with.
Excellent. So let's yeah. What are the fees then? So what is the number? Is it a percentage of? Is it a
Oh, I'm
flat
sorry.
fee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a flat $7,000 investment.
Got it. Okay. So flat $7,000 investment. And then that gets your support for how long, or gets your team to
Mm-hmm.
help for how long?
Absolutely. So it's a 6-month program. And during those 6 months, we work on getting you, again, as much funding as possible as we can. And it
Mm-hmm.
starts by optimizing your credit profile, getting your round of 0% funding,
Okay.
getting you set up for your second one, and having a roadmap to becoming bankable. It's a 6-month program. And we put in writing that we will work with you until we get you at least $100,000. So for whatever reason, we have not done that within the 6 months, we will continue to work with you until we do.
Okay, got it. So
And
it's kind of like the guarantees, like the $100,000 funding within 6 months or longer, whatever it takes. $7,000 one-time fee, no other fees.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's exactly right. And I also get on a lot of these calls as well. And our job on that call, like if somebody wanted to book a call and see if they qualified, is not to overhype you or oversell you on anything, because it is a long-term relationship. It's all about getting alignment on the actual strategy. So oftentimes I'm going to be very conservative when talking to you. We can get alignment on just that, on that one sales call. I much prefer to undersell you, right? And get you on the other side, and have you be very happy with us over that long period of time.
Makes sense. Patrick, who is this not for? Like if someone's listening, be like, this all sounds really good. When, is there like, I just know that this is not for who?
The dogs you can't teach a new trick to, maybe.
Okay.
Those, because again, some people you can lead the horse to water, but you just can't make them drink it, right?
Yeah.
So these people are extremely hard-headed. Like there's this avatar out there, and real estate investors there's like this sort of line down the middle. You've got these older guys, maybe they've never touched credit, they're asset rich. They're like, why do I need it for? And I'm like, well, maybe you're right. Maybe you don't need it, right?
Yeah.
But at some point, if you're in the business world, you're looking to grow your business, it makes no sense to have your business, your revenue, everything in your life grow and not have the business credit and the availability to capital match that as well.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? And you might as well be flexing that muscle, because there could be a rainy day, or there could be a time when you need those reserves, you need to call on that credit. And so it's just, I say it's good to think about cash flow, tax flow, and debt flow.
I
is the
love
way
it.
we say it. And so you're really focused on debt flow and maximizing the ability to have it and lower interest rates and becoming bankable. Makes sense. Any last thing that I haven't asked you that I should have asked you that you want to kind of tee up before we go to lightning round?
Uh, no, just one little quick thing. Again, it's unsecured capital. You're not having to put up the house. I notice a lot of real estate investors, they when I talk to them about this, they're very transactional, like, oh, it's 7% for 100K, this and that. But they'll be the first ones to put up the house, right? So this is probably the best form of capital because it's unsecured, but you do need a personally guarantee. And most of your most anything in terms of financing on the business side, you'll have to personally guarantee until your business is bankable and it can stand on its own 2 feet or
Okay, so
own
that's the
four
point.
legs.
So once it is bankable, right, then you don't have to personally guarantee anymore. That's the whole point. So you lower your risk because then it's only secured against your business. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. But at that
Now
point, your business is an asset.
yeah, and is every other form of like personal credit is personally guaranteed, right?
Absolutely. Yep. Hmm.
Yeah. So basically, you're de-risking by working with Patrick and his team because you're moving the risk from you personally to the business. That's the whole point of becoming bankable, right? So
That's the long term
it's
plan.
like
Mhm.
breaking through that wall so that you don't have to you have to be so at vulnerable. Is what you're saying? Is that a fair summary?
Exactly. Yeah. But you do have to be comfortable with first personally guaranteeing when we're first starting out. Because I tell
Right.
everybody, if you're not willing to put your name on the line, why should the banks be willing to?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. Exactly. And then what other like kind of strategies like paying off, every month, obviously, so you don't, the minimum
Mm,
amount for the 0%, and like any strategies or feedback there for just
yeah,
how do you manage the payments and
absolutely.
stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because look, especially when it comes to a lot of investors, they tend to have thick profiles, lots of different mortgages and stuff, but they also have a lot of inquiries. So just know that you can remove those inquiries before they fall off themselves, especially if you have a lot, if they're not tied to any open accounts on the personal credit profile. That's how we're able to remove the business credit card application inquiries
Mm-hmm.
as well. Another thing is maybe utilization management. So I understand a lot of real estate investors, they're using their personal credit. And that's the whole idea of getting them over to the business side, is so that utilization doesn't report. Because once you're in utilization hell, what I call it, and by the way, HELOCs are revolving lines. So you want to make sure that, again, before you start to max out on that HELOC, that maybe you do consider going for a business credit, a stack of business credit cards, because you could literally max those cards out and they won't affect your personal credit as much as a HELOC does. So a couple of things to consider there. And then when it comes to your utilization, a lot of people sort of leave it on autopilot, pay on the due date. But if you're looking to max out your points on your credit profile, there's a very simple method called ASIO. And all that stands for is all zero except one, which means keeping all your revolving at zero balance and just keeping one under a single digit utilization, basically under 10%. Um, and that is if you're looking to play around with that, you want to look at your statement closing date, because your statement closing date is when it's going to take a snapshot of that account and update the balance with the bureaus.
Okay, make sure I capture that, right? So if I have 10 credit cards now, personal or business, what you're saying is, and every month you want all of them to be zero, except one of the credit cards you actually want to pay some interest on, is what you're saying. And that helps to boost whatever we're doing here. Is that what you're saying? So let's just say I have a credit card that's $10,000 and 10% is 1,000. Are you saying that it's wise to just keep it at about, let's call it $900, a little bit less than 10%? Keep that 900 every month and pay
That's a good
interest?
question. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the great thing about our credit score currently as it stands, is utilization has no memory. So oftentimes people are coming to us where like the only thing in the way of funding is their utilization. So some people have their own liquid cash to pay it down. And with some, we have to come up with methods in terms of like, hey, first we need funding to pay these down before we actually go for a round of 0% business credit cards. And for a lot of them, if let's say they are on very high utilization, business credit cards won't be an option. So where we start first sometimes is securing a personal loan. That personal loan can oftentimes help consolidate all of that revolving credit into one single payment, have you pay less interest, and it actually frees up because your revolving credit in terms of utilization is 30% of your score. So if we could pretty much put it all on the installment side, now we've freed up that score, and really just for the underwriters to see like, okay, now he's ready for 0% business funding.
Okay,
Hope
that's
that
why
answers.
it's complex, right? No, I think you nailed it, Patrick, and this is why you want to hire a team to help you do that. Go ahead. You want to say something else on that?
Yeah. So, and then just because a lot of people explain this, like you don't ever want to go above 10%. It's like you could literally have your card maxed out the entire month. But as long as that statement, and just know that when that statement closing date rolls around, whatever your balance is then is what's going to report to the bureaus. So you could literally have it maxed out all
Right.
month
No, that
long.
makes sense. I think part of my question is just to clarify here, just so I miss it. You said all zero but one. Does that mean you actually want to carry some kind of reporting of a higher amount?
Yes. Some balance on a card, right? And what you don't want to do too, because I've seen this.
$10, $100, like a dollar? Like what do you like? Does it matter what the
This
amount is?
No, because again, you're on the lower spectrum, so the lower the better, right? You just want to report some kind of a payment, show the
So
bank,
like
show
$5. So
everybody.
basically, like you got a $10,000 credit card and you spent $9,900 that month. You pay all of it off but $5. So like you don't want to pay it off in full. You just want to carry $5.
That's fine.
That's
Hmm.
that's the key here. So specifically telling, instead of saying pay it off in full, you want to click the button specific amount, probably get a feel for what that amount is you're spending every month, and then set that specific amount. So that's always maybe 10 or $20 that's carrying. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Hmm.
Interesting. And you only do that with one card. Everything else you want to pay off to zero.
Yes. Yeah. And again, that doesn't always have to stay like that 12 months of the year,
Okay,
right?
got it.
And yeah, and another thing I was going to say too is uh, with these revolving lines in terms of servicing them. Uh, yeah, this is something we can completely help you with. Like this is the whole
Yeah.
idea of when you come on board with us is most people are focused on scaling their business. They're focused on the day to day and
Yeah.
fires that come up in their business. So this is not something we want you deeply involved in. We want you showing up to those Zoom calls. We're looking at maybe a few hours worth of work on your end. And when your business is already established, if we're not talking about creating an LLC from scratch and all that, you're really looking at a few hours worth of work, which involves really expanding your banking footprint and maybe making some strategic deposits.
Yeah, everyone's speaking with Mr. Patrick Pychynski. I'm going to say it like that. I think I pronounced it right. You can go to stackingsuccess.com to get started. Yeah, so we used to use like mint.com. That used to be a good one. And then mint.com went away and it kind of merged something else. I'm using anything called Empower that kind of brings some stuff in. Is there like a third party, like, credit card aggregator or like, basically, what do you use now that's low cost or no cost to aggregate all of these different places into one? Do you have like a go-to or a couple?
Well, there is a good, I'm not sure if that's going to answer your question, but there is a good app called Max Rewards. And this one allows you to connect your cards or add the cards that you have on there, and it will recommend what the best card is to use for that particular purchase. That way, you're maxing out the perks of that card, whether it be travel, points, cashback.
There we go, Max Reward. So that's a good little tip.
Yeah, and they
Fantastic.
also tell you your due dates and all that too, so it's a good way to manage them as well.
Okay, cool. Max Rewards it is. Okay, all right. You ready for the lightning round?
Yes, sir.
All right, knowing what you know now, Patrick, if you go back to your 20-year-old self, what's the one gold nugget? Make sure you tell yourself to do.
Just focus, obsessively focus on one thing.
Excellent. Number one book you've recommended or gifted in the last year?
I recommend. I'm going to recommend this one book that's so cliche that's on the list of not recommending, but I recommend you run it with a protocol. Think and Grow Rich, but I recommend you do that with the 75 Hard Challenge, and that's the only book that you read during those 75 days.
Okay.
I don't know if you know about the 75 Hard Challenge with Andy Frisella. Okay.
Yeah, keep to share. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, sure. Good.
Yeah.
What do you like about that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good discipline protocol. I don't remember it's been a couple years since I did the last one, but it involves having a couple workouts a day, one inside, one outside, maintaining a diet, not drinking, reading 10 pages of an actual book every day. So I chose to read that one on loop because it's actually a workbook. It's an instruction manual. And after the second time of reading it around, I kind of felt like a dummy, not actually applying, getting out a piece of paper and doing what it was telling me to do. So it was a life changer, reading the actual book, not the audiobook, and then following the protocol along with it.
Love it. Sounds great. Next question. Number one way you're using Chat GPT.
Oh my gosh. I mean, number one way. Man, we're literally ChatGPT. Yeah, we're using it for. It's hard to say with the number one thing because we're literally using it for everything.
Yeah,
I'm
that's good.
sorry. I mean, literally, there's not a day that goes by where we don't use ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude for something.
Excellent.
Copywriting. Claude is really good for copywriting.
Yeah, Claude's good for copywriting. Okay, it's good. Well, Gemini, what's that good for?
Gemini is good for deep research, but
Okay.
lately ChatGPT hasn't been too bad with that either.
Okay. Yeah, I found Gemini is good for like graphics or like, things like creating pictures and images, different things. When you say the Claude, do you do the pro Claude or just the regular Claude?
Man, well, I recently upgraded to Ultra just because
Mm,
I think Claude is one of the most expensive LLMs to run. So if you start to run it a good bit, you'll actually run out of credits really fast. I don't even
right.
know the cost. I just know that I run out of credits on the pro plan really
Right.
fast.
Okay. Do you feel like you're using Claude more than Chat or is it a mix?
No, I'm actually going to downgrade now because honestly, since ChatGPT 5 came out,
Yeah.
we're really looking to see if we can because a lot of what we're doing, we're now trying to put it into like automate the process through N8N workflows and stuff.
Right.
We're really trying to see if ChatGPT 5 can be the answer for everything. And so far, it's been proving good.
That's really good. Yeah, we're looking at Lindy.ai and we're looking at N8N too, right? And like basically building out the agents and all of those things. And so be interested to compare notes on that, to see, what the next level, right? So right on. Next question. What are you most curious about right now?
Most curious about? Oh man, that's a interesting question. Just I'm curious about where the next chapter for this company is. Back in March, I had two partners that screwed me over big time. Literally planned this ahead of time, took the entire sales staff, deleted company assets,
Yikes.
all kinds of stuff. It's a blessing in disguise, and since then, I've just kind of put my head down. All of my inputs have been behind like just good faith and giving it all to God, right? So I'm curious as to I'm leaving it all to God. So I'm curious as to what our next chapter is. And I'm starting to already feel the fruits of everything. Last month, we just had our best month this year. So out of this whole year, and we're sort of back on the upswing from that terrible, tragic happening back then.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing. And last question. After all your success helping all the people you've helped, how do you best keep a mindset of stewardship over ownership?
I have always, I've noticed when I learn something, I become deeply passionate about it. And then I become very passionate about sharing it with others. So I, a long time ago, realized that I am in the transformation business. That's what I'm doing here. And that's what I try to push as far as the culture with my team and everything that we do here.
Awesome. Patrick, it's been more than a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you I feel like we could do a masterclass on this in just about 32 minutes here, sharing your expertise on how to get funded as a business, how to stack and build capital within the business and your personal credit as well. For our listeners, keep doing what you're doing, man. Help out because I think there's definitely a vacuum in this area that people don't really know how to do it. For those who want to get in touch with you, what's the best place for them to find you?
Yeah, they could go to stacking-capital.com if they wanted to book a call with me, or they could find me on Instagram. I think I'm most active there. It's Patrick Pye.
Awesome. Thank you, Patrick. Also want to thank all of our listeners for listening to another episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions Podcast and Built to Billions Podcast. Yes, we're streaming on both podcasts in case you're watching us on one of those YouTube channels or listening to on the podcast, but you might be consuming anywhere. And we're on this journey with you from scale to millions to billions so you can get more all over the way. If you have a big exit coming up with massive capital gains taxes, you want to defer those taxes, make sure you go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to get started with that. Bitcoin, business, real estate, never using a 1031 exchange ever again, capitalgainstaxsolutions.com, and make sure you connect with Patrick too to get bankable for your business. And we'll talk soon. Bye now.